Welcome to the Business Authority radio show. I'm Craig Williams, your host, and my host as well. We don't have co-hosts. We just have two hosts. How like that? I like how that sounds.
I'm neil-howe, the other host.
Yeah, so we have two hosts here at the Bar Radio and Bar Radio Show. Our guest today is Curtis Weaver, Dr. Curtis Weaver. He's an adjunct professor at Mercer University, and he hails from the Commonwealth of Atlanta, LLC. Curtis helps individuals, executives, and business owners build, grow, and preserve their wealth and income. They're committed to conducting business with the highest degree of integrity and honesty. Curtis, welcome to the bar, and go right into who you like to help.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate you guys having me here. I think, first of all, I'm going to go where it's hot right now, because a lot of people are retiring and they don't know what to do with themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's a serious issue. I think for the most part, once we leave or walk through those employers' doors, we're pretty much on our own. And a lot of folks aren't too clear as to what to do with their situation in terms of their health care, in terms of their financial qualified money that they've saved up so much for, and as well as their insurances. So all of these things are changing, and now you become your own HR person.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't talk about that, but so it's real.
So if you had a crystal ball, what would be your perfect prospect?
A perfect prospect for me would be someone who was actually thinking about retiring, have already gone to see their HR folks to get their forms in line and setting up the exit strategy.
So they're in the process, all right. There's no turning back.
No, because once you actually sign the paperwork that you're terminating and you're becoming a retiree, as we say, your life changes. And I think because so many people miss the mark in terms of what the expectations are. The expectations should be, hey, I'm ready, and I really know what my next step is going to be. Well, I got guys and ladies, they've worked a long time. They want to go. They want to take long trips, and that's fine. Lifestyle, you need that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you still have to live after. And whether you planned early or whether you planned late, we're here to help. We're here to help.
So how do you help them? I mean, give me a couple of examples of drill down of how you really help them.
Okay.
Are you a part of that?
Sure.
The planning or
at Commonwealth of Atlanta, basically what we take a holistic approach. In some cases, some folks like to have a variety of advisors, whether an advisor for their insurance and an advisor for their qualified money or an advisor for their health care. But because we see where the holes are and we see the areas of where there may be limitations, we focus in on it holistically. Mm-hmm. Because when we look at how we're designed, we all have the same basic needs when it comes financially.
Food, clothing, and shelter.
Food, clothing, shelter, and we have to have liability coverage for those homes, cars, babies, and to eat for ourselves.
So you remind them in a bigger, broader picture of those things, and kind of hold them accountable to what their plans are. Okay.
So would you consider yourself a financial advisor or a wealth management? What exactly is it that you do there?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I'm a financial advisor, but also I'm a wealth a specialist in the area of finding the leaks. I find the holes.
Okay.
Because a lot of folks don't realize that you're losing money, whether it be in taxes, whether it be in overspending, or whether it be in just debt. Trying to balance all of that. That's what the challenge is for a lot of people, trying to figure out where's my money going. I know I make a really good salary. I may stumble here or there, but at the same time, where's my money going? And when we look at it holistically, we don't go through a process because we look at your budget, how much you can, how much does it cost to keep the lights on here.
So if they don't have a budget, would you give them one?
I would recommend a budget simply because that's where all the bleeding starts.
Yeah.
It actually starts on the front end where, that making adjustments, because some things that we have to understand is that when we make the adjustments, we can kind of head off a lot of those areas and kind of recycle those dollars back into the person's little circle of wealth there.
So I read the other day that the number one fear of baby boomers is running out of money before they, and the number two is death.
Yes.
So baby boomers are more scared of running out of money before they die.
Yes.
So
then running out after, right?
So, as they say, hey, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. I hear that all the time.
Wow.
So, yeah, this is very true.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest problems right now is people are living a lot longer than they anticipate. I mean, they work for 30 years and they might have saved that money. They may have started late.
Right.
But then once they get to 65, they might have another 30 years to pull on that retirement.
Well, let me explain something to you, because there's a whole other dynamic going on also. The baby boomer generation is the only generation that, in their situation, they thought they would be on the beach. But now they're facing a situation where many of them have their parents that they're still taking care of. Mm-hmm. They have themselves, and in many cases, their kids have moved back home. So we're looking at a whole different kind of dynamic here of when you say retirement, you still have your money attached to some things that need to be taken care of. I recommend, because a lot of folks don't think about it, some type of LTC, a long-term care policy, because when we look at the cost associated with someone who would be hospitalized or for a long period of time, or just having to have care for a long period of time, doesn't really matter what age. The younger, the better. But at the same time, it actually would allow you to plan a little bit better in the event of. Yes.
So why would somebody be interested in what you have to say or your firm has to say?
Well, we're a little unique or a little different than other firms. I mean, you have some great companies out there, but we all come from those great companies. And the firm that we created, Commonwealth of Atlanta, we're actually a little bit more objective and can be a little bit more objective than some of the bigger corporations. We're not just trying to push you our products, because we deal with them all. Mm-hmm. And we take it from an objective perspective, and we lay it out in front of you and let you make the decision based on your choice, your plan, and your design. So it's a little bit different feel than most folks would have, rather than just say, here's my situation, tell me what I need to do. Well, we can do that. We have the position and we have the ability to do that. But I think a lot of times being versed in various areas, because when you look in our firm, we have individuals that have come from banking. We look at it, have individuals that have come from insurance. We have folks that are coming from finance. So we have a whole high level of individuals who can drill down to those areas. And when you go to our website, cwbfs.com, you'll see that, it's very interactive. There are a lot of tools in there in terms of not just retirement, but for business owners as well as individuals, because the business owners have another situation that we'll talk about.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have you come back and put a lot more meat to that bone. But what are a number of the misconceptions about your product or your service that you offer?
Well, when you look at someone or when they sit down, sometimes they get to feel that I can only deal with one thing. We only do one thing.
And you mentioned holistically. You all come from more of a holistic approach.
We do, and we have specialists in those areas, and we do a lot of working together as a team. So there may be a couple of us on one case or situation of depending on the individual size. So, yeah.
Well, interesting.
So I believe that many people who come to you are obviously coming to you for advice, and the financial advisor, wealth management area is something that the average person probably doesn't know a great deal about. And it's very, very confusing. There's so many different programs. What kind of standards do you hold yourself to and your company? Are you a fiduciary for these clients?
We are, and we're all licensed investment advisors or registered reps, as well as we have our own CPA, as well as we have our own lawyer in firm. So a lot of the estate planning, when you start talking about transition of estates to your beneficiaries, what are the benefits and tax ramifications of that? We look at all of that. When we start talking about for business owners, one of the things that they're looking at in terms of liability, overhead expenses, if they were to step out of the picture, how would that change? How would their whole business model look, or how would their company operate with them being absent? So a lot of these conversations are real. You got to have that conversation as soon as you can, because what happens when you think that maybe I'll talk about it, I'll get to it later.
Later never comes.
Later never comes.
Yeah. Yeah. So and I've been up on your site right there. You do have a very diverse and Mike Mahoney. I've known Mike for a number of years. I didn't know he was part of. How long has he been a part of the Commonwealth?
Actually, all of us got together a couple of years back. Howard and I met at Principal Financial. We were advisors at Principal. When we met, it was a situation where we saw the opportunity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you go to a company, but sometimes it doesn't really fit.
Yeah.
And understanding that they have limitations, and we were true to those limitations. So at some point in time, we decided, hey, let's start a company.
You created the change you wanted to be.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see how Commonwealth. So we heard who your perfect prospect is. We see how you help people. And once people come in the door and they see that, hey, this is a one-stop shop.
Right.
What are one or two of the reasons why they wouldn't do business with you?
Well, and we understand we're not trying to attract everybody, because that becomes a problem. We have a control issue, meaning that we don't have enough folks to service from that capacity. Right now, our firm is growing, and we're excited about that. We're getting a lot of opportunities to help a lot of people, and we're doing a lot of educational pieces in trying to educate folks in terms of areas of finance and in their own financial situation. So, yes.
So is your main client small business owners? Is there any minimum amount that they have to have in their accounts or putting towards their account monthly in order for you to work with them? There
is no minimum. Pretty much the carriers that we work with, they are the major carriers that you hear and you see on television. We have contracts and things of that nature. We have relationships with those guys. So we're good. We don't have any limitation in terms of dollar amount because everybody's process is a little bit different. We feel equipped that we can handle whatever we're needed or put before us because we have the length and the depth of qualified folks.
I'd have to say you all are a catalyst or an asset to the community of finance because you're so diverse. And it's definitely, as we like to say here at the Business Authority Radio, it's very pro-business.
Yes.
And I could see we definitely will want to have you come back and speak a little bit more about how you complement other industries. Yes. Where your focus is more of a collaborative effort as opposed to, hey, do business with us because we are the experts or yes. we are the authorities in this space. No, do business because we are bringing a number of resources together, and this is a big toolbox
yes.
that complements the industry of business owners as well as the employees of those business owners.
It does. Yeah. And one perfect example. And one perfect example is when doctors go to medical school, their sole purpose is to become doctors, not business owners.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
So for them, they're coming in kind of blind. They do what they do, and they do what they do well. They're great clinicians, but at the same time, the whole operation of accounting and bookkeeping and make sure their liabilities are correct or in place. That's a whole nother box there.
So if somebody is coming to you, your perfect prospect or client is coming to you, they're just about to reach retirement age, what is the most important thing that you need to tell them to get their business in order?
Sure. There are a couple of different types of folks that we're seeing. Some are basically seeing themselves as never retiring. And for those folks, I would say, because you have that, you still have to make these steps in the areas of the health care, in terms of what are your choices under the Medicare. Because with Medicare, there's a whole nother litany of questioning that comes. So with Medicare, they have to ask that question, or if they're going to stay with their employer. Some employers are generous that let their retirees carry their benefits with them. So we got to have that discussion. The next thing in terms of their qualified money, the 401k, 457, whether you work in the city or if you work for an organization or a private company, you have to consider when do I start or make that transition of taking my 401k out of the companies and putting it into my own, whether it be a rollover or what have you. You have to have that conversation. And then you also have to have the conversation about insurance, because the insurance with the group company was a whole lot less and you were a lot younger when you started. So when you come out, you may not get that $12 a month premium for, $200,000 or $500,000, but there are other conditions that you have to meet. So we don't have that discussion, but it's there.
Gotcha.
And we're there to kind of give you that footprint and that path and that chart or direction to take you.
Well, tell us again how we could reach you and where your website and what social mediums you use to, because you're definitely going to be back.
Sure.
We're going to have you back definitely on in all the channels we have with the Pro Business Channel. We see you as definitely being an asset to
Thank you.
complementing a lot of this we call it a village of pro businessers.
Yes.
I just made a word. I just made a word.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, you can get in contact with us. You can go to our website visit our website, cwbfs.com. Our address is 5909 Peachtree Dunwoody Road, Building D, Suite 990, and that's in Sandy Springs.
And we'll have that to show notes. Folks, we really appreciate Curtis Weaver coming through with Commonwealth of Atlanta, LLC. I'm Craig Williams.
And Neil-Howe.
And we're looking forward to you joining us again at the Business Authority Radio.